The American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, has a genuine argument for being the greatest pro wrestler going today. But unfortunately, all good things must come to an end, and as Danielson heavily alluded just a few days ago at the time of this recording, his career may be finishing up as soon as next year. But how will the story of the American Dragon end? That's what we're here to talk about today. Welcome to the Wrestling Universe channel. My name is Cosk, and today I am going to be fantasy booking the retirement run of the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. So, our fantasy booking begins at WrestleDream. It's Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr. in a dream match that fans have been waiting for since Danielson left the WWE. The two men have a 30+ minute technical masterclass where Danielson ends up getting the victory. But our story really begins after the match. Danielson grabs a mic and he talks about his impending retirement. He says after considering it for hours upon hours, days upon days, weeks upon weeks, months upon months, he has a date for his retirement. And that date is all in 2024 in Wembley Stadium. Danielson said he was upset he couldn't make it to the first All-In. He was upset he couldn't make it to the second All-In. But he's going to do everything in his soul to make it to the main event of All-In 3. And that is where his career is going to end in one of the biggest wrestling shows that there has ever been. So, we've established Danielson's retirement date, but until then, what will the American Dragon do? We're gonna be looking at his big pay-per-view feuds from post-WrestleDream to All-In 2024, and we're gonna start out with Full Gear. The first big opponent for Danielson post-retirement is Samoa Joe. The feud starts when Joe attacks Danielson after a match with Ricky Starks. It's going to be the last match in their trilogy after they end up being one apiece, and Danielson would win, but Joe would attack Danielson after, furious about his loss against MJF and just looking to take out his anger on someone. Or at least that seems to be his reason, because while that was a big part of it, the reason he targeted Danielson specifically is because he does not want Danielson to make it into All-In 2024. He wants to destroy Danielson before, and he wants to be the one to disappoint the world and make them feel the pain he did when he lost against MJF. The two would have a great rivalry. They're arguably the two greatest in Ring of Honor history, and they would call back to that. And they're two incredible strikers. They're two phenomenal wrestlers who both come from the same generation. They would have a match at Full Gear. Danielson would win, and after the match, Danielson and Samoa Joe would shake hands, establishing that Danielson is earning the respect of even those who respect nobody else because they realize his time is up, and just being in the ring with Danielson, even for a monster like Joe, is an honor. After the Joe match, Danielson would go on a winning streak. He would defeat opponents with different moves each time, just like he did when he originally came to AEW. This would catch the eyes of Takeshita, or more specifically, Don Callis. This would begin a rivalry. On Takeshita's side, it's simply business. Takeshita realizes, or more so Don Callis realizes, that if Takeshita defeats Danielson, then he'd be immediately sent into the main event, and he'd be immediately sent into the World Championship contention. Beating a man with the winning streak that Danielson has is huge. But on the other hand, Danielson wants to save Takeshita from the grasps of Don Callis. At one point, Danielson was so blinded by his hatred of the Elite that he was okay with Takeshita being manipulated by him. But he's a different man now. He's thinking about his family, and he doesn't have a lot of time left in his career, the selfishness of this business has gone away because he realizes he has to appreciate every second he has, and he has to give back to the business which has created his life for him. The two men would meet at Revolution. Danielson would be playing it soft, but by the time the match begins, Danielson is not playing it soft anymore. He knows he has to beat Sense into Takeshita, and the two have a hard-hitting encounter where Takeshita wins with a brutal elbow strike. Danielson would be stretchered out as they would mention his concussion history, and questions would begin whether Danielson would make All In. After the injury, questions arise whether Danielson can make it to All In London. Weeks go by, and it is announced by Danielson that he is indeed cleared. But he still doesn't know if he can make it to London because of the emotional toll the injury had on him. He's told it could have been much worse, and if that elbow was just a bit tougher, a bit more stiff, a bit more to the left, his life could have ended, and he wouldn't be able to see his daughter grow. He wouldn't be able to take care of his wife. He wouldn't be able to take care of his mother, his father, his family. He is a family man now, and he cannot risk that. And he's contemplating whether he can risk going with all the injuries he's had, with the way his body is. There's a reason he's retiring, and that's not because he doesn't want to do this till he dies. That's because he has a family who he needs to take care of. This is when Will Ospreay makes his presence known. Ospreay says he'll be damned if he doesn't get a match with Danielson. He says he put down Omega, he put down Jericho, he put down Okada, but there is one man that he's wanted to wrestle his entire career, and that is Bryan Danielson. He, for weeks, forces Danielson's hand into a match. Danielson, he isn't sure, but Ospreay keeps calling him out every single week, talking about how he's a coward, until he forces Danielson's hand, and the match is made official for Double or Nothing. The two men go 40 plus minutes. They bring out the best in each other. Arguably, in this timeline, it is seen as the best Danielson match in his AEW career, or maybe even his wrestling career thus far. And same for Ospreay. These two are going fully at it and having an absolute classic. Ospreay would get the win, but the job has been done. Danielson's passion for wrestling has been lifted. He will go till the wheels fall off. He is motivated to go to All In London. He knows he has what it takes. And Ospreay brought out the best in him. We are now on the road to All In London. It's Bryan Danielson's last match, and the tournament is made to decide who his last opponent will be. The finalists of this tournament are Daniel Garcia and Kenny Omega. This means the world to both men. For Garcia, it means the world because Danielson is his mentor. Danielson is the person he's looked up to. Danielson is the person he shaped his career around. So being his final opponent means the absolute world to him. Whereas for Omega, it means the world to him because he never got that decisive who is better. Their match was a draw, and Omega wants that proof that he's better than Danielson. He wants proof that he's the best wrestler in the world. Omega would win this tournament, and he would go on to face Danielson at All In London. Before the match, Danielson's last TV match, his last match in America, would be Daniel Garcia, just to give him that big moment before Danielson retires, this big career-changing match where they go 30 plus minutes. Danielson wins, but earns the respect of the world, and Garcia earns the respect of Danielson. But now we go on to Omega versus Danielson, the main event of All In 3. in front of 80,000 plus people, Danielson and Omega have an absolutely phenomenal melodramatic match. They have a complete spectacle, or an epic, let's say, an epic of a match where there's drama combined with great in-ring work. They go 45 plus minutes. They bring out the absolute best in each other, and at the end, Bryan Danielson wins. After the match, Danielson's wife and child enter the ring. They hug Danielson, the roster comes out, they clap for Danielson, confetti goes off, pyro goes off. This is an appreciation of the legacy of Bryan Danielson. And that's what this video is. To me, Bryan Danielson doesn't need a complex story to get over his retirement. He just needs to wrestle, because that's what he's best at. Wrestling these variety opponents, getting these dream matches off is what Danielson is best at. He is a dream match wrestler because every big opponent versus Danielson is a dream match because he's Bryan goddamn Danielson. He's the best wrestler in the world. And if it were me booking, which in this scenario it is, I would have Danielson retire as the best wrestler in the world, proving himself to be the best of the best, beating Kenny Omega in a 45 plus minute match and securing his legacy as an all-time great. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. If you've watched this far, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Hit the like too. Thank you for joining me. I truly appreciate it. Have a nice day.